course.
In Season 4, Episode 13 of Suits, Lewis discovers Mike's secret about never attending law school, and Harvey orchestrates a road trip to force Lewis and Mike to address their issues. Can this unconventional method mend their relationship? Let's find out. As Lewis Litt steps into his office, Harvey Specter, right off the bat, greets him with a cheeky morning sunshine. This takes Lewis aback for a moment. What's Harvey up to early in the morning? Before Lewis can even get his bearings, Harvey throws out a seemingly random comment about a prunie, Lewis's favorite breakfast drink. How did Harvey know about that? Obviously Donna, because it turns out she's been sharing some tidbits. But Harvey isn't just there to chat about breakfast preferences. He brings up that Lewis found out about a client Harvey had passed on to him, one that he didn't really want to deal with himself. Lewis raises an eyebrow. Is Harvey here just to stir the pot? Nope. Harvey has bigger plans. He offers Lewis a whopping 50% stake in McCormick Motors. Sounds too good to be true, but what's the catch? Harvey lays it out. The catch is a road trip to McCormick Motors' headquarters, and it starts right now. Lewis is skeptical, to say the least. Is Harvey serious? You bet he is, especially when it comes to McCormick Motors. Fast forward to the car showroom, and the scene is set for their departure. Lewis, ever practical, questions why they can't just use a car service, but Harvey insists on making a grand entrance. They need to roll up in something impressive, something that screams we mean business. Lewis spots a sleek car on the showroom floor and points it out, but Harvey shoots it down. Why? Well, it's not just the two of them going. Just then, Mike Ross enters the showroom. Lewis is stunned. Harvey had said it would just be the two of them, but why is Mike here? As it turns out, Harvey had planned it this way from the start. He knew Lewis wouldn't have come if he had known Mike was involved. Now, Lewis is really fuming. There's no way he's going on this trip, or so he thinks. Harvey is adamant though. He tells Lewis straight up, by the time they get to McCormick, he and Mike are going to sort out their issues come hell or high water. And if Lewis tries to back out, Harvey's prepared to go as far as tying him to the roof of the car. That's a bit extreme, but maybe, just maybe, this road trip could be the thing that puts all their conflicts in the rearview mirror. As the road trip continues, the atmosphere inside the car is tense. Lewis breaks the silence with a frustrated shout, "Hey, what the hell?" Harvey, keeping his eyes on the road, coolly asks what the problem is. Lewis isn't in the mood for games. He thinks this trip should be anything but quiet, but Harvey has other ideas. Harvey firmly tells him that if Lewis isn't ready to talk, then silence will be their only companion. Lewis retorts that Harvey can enforce silence all he wants, but that won't make him reconcile with Mike. Harvey, ever the mediator, probes further, asking Lewis what it would take for him to work things out with Mike. Suddenly, Mike joins the conversation, pointing out that Lewis had managed to resolve issues with Donna and Rachel and even lied for Jessica. So why not him? Lewis snaps back, claiming that he forgave them because they were mere victims of the so-called Mike Ross disease, and now here he is, stuck in the car with what he calls patient zero. Mike corrects him, stating that in medical terms, patient zero refers to the first person infected, not the disease itself. He also adds a jibe about being stuck viewing the back of Lewis's head, which he mockingly describes as stupid, fat, and balding. This sparks a rare moment of humor from Harvey, who points out that they're finally talking. To lighten the mood further, Harvey decides it's a good time to play some music. As they continue talking, Lewis becomes increasingly agitated by Harvey's driving style, accusing him of driving like a savage animal and dramatically declaring himself in the death seat. Harvey's response is blunt. Lewis needs to toughen up. Not satisfied, Lewis demands a change in seating arrangements. He insists that he and Harvey should sit in the back and Harvey should drive, but Harvey quickly dismisses that idea, questioning what Lewis really wants since there's no chance he's letting Lewis drive. The conversation takes a surprising turn when Lewis suggests Mike could drive instead, only for Mike to reveal that he doesn't know how to drive. Lewis is shocked. The bickering continues, with Lewis refusing to sit in the back with Mike, whom he labels a fraud. Harvey tries to keep the peace, suggesting different seating arrangements, but to no avail. Every suggestion meets resistance, with Lewis having a counter for every proposal. The deadlock continues, with neither side willing to give in. As they continue their road trip, Harvey noticed Mike seemed deep in thought and asked him what was on his mind. Mike shared he was reminiscing about a train trip he once took to DC with his grandmother when they were playing I Spy. Harvey responded that it was a nice story, but quickly pointed out that they weren't going to play that game. However, Lewis, eager to lighten the mood, jumped in, suggesting that playing I Spy would remind him of the times he used to beat his sister, Esther, during their visits to their Aunt Frida, who, according to Lewis, had quite the pungent presence. Seeing an opportunity to foster some communication between Lewis and Mike, Harvey agreed to the game, hoping it might get them talking. But the game quickly took a sour turn when Lewis used his turn to make a jab at Mike, accusing him of not really knowing his grandmother and calling him a fraud. Mike's temper flared. He sternly warned Lewis not to bring his grandmother into the disputes. Lewis, however, pushed further, mocking Mike's background as an orphan from New York City and taunting him about his inability to drive. Mike warned Lewis to watch his words, but Lewis was relentless, questioning the truth about Mike's orphan status and accusing him of potentially lying about it to gain sympathy. Harvey tried to intervene as the tension escalated, telling Lewis that was enough, but the situation had already heated up too much. Mike demanded Harvey to pull the car over, threatening to handle things with Lewis outside the car. During a routine gas stop, Harvey instructed Lewis to fill up the tank while he stepped away for a bit. This simple task quickly escalated into a verbal standoff between Lewis and Mike. Lewis threw a jab at Mike, implying that filling gas was for those without a college education, to which Mike retorted sharply, challenging Lewis's presumption with a taunt about taking another step if he dared. The tension skyrocketed, and words turned to physical altercation. Amidst the scuffle, Lewis accused Mike of ruining his life and the firm they worked for. Harvey, noticing the fight as he returned, called out to Lewis, who immediately released his grip on Mike and broke down into tears. The situation turned somber after the fight. As they tried to collect themselves, Mike hinted that Harvey had intentionally asked Lewis to fill the tank, knowing it would provoke a confrontation. Lewis, still emotional, questioned what Mike meant, and Mike suggested that both of them had anticipated each other's reactions. This revelation led to a deeper conversation where Mike finally apologized for his past deceptions. She shared a personal, heart-wrenching reason for never learning to drive or attending law school, a tragic car accident that claimed his parents' lives. Lewis, who initially doubted Mike's story about being an orphan, admitted to looking into Mike's background after discovering his lack of formal education. This confession from Lewis showed his own struggle with accepting Mike's unconventional path into law. Despite the bitter words, Lewis acknowledged that Mike wasn't a fraud for missing law school. He simply had a different journey. Meanwhile, Harvey returned, casually handing out drinks and taking the moment to check if the two had resolved their differences. Seeing them talking calmly, he assumed that they had made peace. With a sense of urgency to move past the conflict, Harvey rallied everyone to leave the gas station. As a significant turn of events, and perhaps a sign of his trust in their newfound understanding and partnership, Harvey later stepped down from representing McKernan Motors. In an unexpected but bold move, he awarded Mike and Lewis each a 50% stake in the company, appointing them as co-counsels for McKernan. This decision marked a new beginning for both, now linked not only by their past conflicts, but a shared responsibility. As Lewis and Mike navigate their tumultuous relationships with Harvey's unconventional methods, they find common ground. Will their new roles at McKernan Motors strengthen their bond or reignite old conflicts? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates.